tank. He good at setting traps. Has great the power they believe in. And a great chin too. So he was guy. He'll let you get out punches, and he'll still become nasty. And then once he catches you, it's a wrap.
Greats. Crawford's one of the best switch hitters, I think, since Marvin Hagler, and one of the most skillful boxers alive.
He has very good skills. He's one of my favorite boxers. He able to win this fight.
Errol Spence was shocked and impressed by Terence Crawford's training for the Canelo fight. After fighting him before, Errol already knew Crawford was smart and skilled. But after watching his new training, he couldn't believe how fast, sharp, and focused Crawford looked. He said Crawford looked like a machine, powerful and dangerous. Errol believes this version of Crawford is a serious threat that Canelo shouldn't take lightly.
Yeah. Right here, roll.
When Crawford talked about his fight with Errol Spence, he showed a lot of respect for him. Crawford, known for fighting smart and being patient, explained how he slowly breaks down his opponents before hitting them with fast and powerful combos.
How hard does Spence hit?
He didn't hit that hard.
But he never caught you that clean. That was probably the best shot he landed.
No, he caught me a couple of times, but I was surprised at how hard he didn't hit.
Really?
Given that everybody say, oh, he's a big puncher, he's this. I think he's just a volume puncher. I think he just wears opponents down. Just wear him down. I don't think, he has a one-punch knockout. He have power, but it's not like, boom, sleep. You know what I mean? I think it's like, bam, oh, boom, 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 boom. And then he just wear you down.
Right, yeah. That is a difference, right?
Because if you look at his career, you never seen him, knock nobody out with one punch. You never see him, dropping nobody with one punch. You always see him, wearing them down. That's why he goes so hard to the body, because he want to wear you down. Then once you get tired and once your body start weakening, everything started weakening. And those little punches that wasn't hurting start hurting.
Former champion and analyst Chris Algieri shared his opinion on the Crawford versus Canelo matchup. He said Crawford usually controls his fights and never loses focus. On the other hand, Canelo has sometimes looked out of control, like in his loss to Dmitry Bivol, where Bivol used size, jabs, and discipline to win. Algieri believes Crawford has the kind of smart, technical style that could give Canelo serious trouble, even though Crawford is moving up in weight.
And Terence Crawford, who do you think can be the boss that night? When you talk about these two guys, you talk about two guys, number one, you can't boss me around.
Yep.
Two guys, you can't even look at me a certain way without me feeling some type of way. These guys now have set their sights on one another. Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. Obviously, we know the weight difference, but we've seen Crawford looks like he's coming up slowly to that weight class and kind of acclimating himself in real time. How do you see that fight playing out?
We're still pretty far away from that fight, and I'm going to hold my complete analytics on that. But I'll tell you this:
contrast and compare, maybe not a pick.
But I'll tell you this: I've seen Canelo pushed around. I've never seen Terence pushed around. So if you're talking about who's going to be the boss, I've never seen anyone boss Terence Crawford. I've seen Canelo get bossed. So that just psychologically, when you think about that, and this is a fight where I flip flop on both guys because there's so many good points. Yeah, but he's 168. Yeah, but it's Terence Crawford. He's undefeated. Well, yeah, no, this guy's beating this, but stylistic. Even he hits him on the arm. There's so many different things you can talk about. But from a psychological standpoint, who's fresher, who's meaner, who wants it more? That's going to come into play.
As a boxing fan, how much fun is it to see those two attitudes come together? It's kind of like the unstoppable force versus the immovable object getting ready to collide.
I've worked a lot of Canelo fights. The Canelo fight weeks are great. He plays to the crowd really well. His fans are awesome. I'm thinking about the Caleb Plant situation. I'm thinking about the Billy's Joe Saunders situation. When he gets that in his head that he's got an extra chip, he becomes a really dangerous man.
Boxing expert Max Kellerman gave a fair analysis. He said both fighters have strengths, but Crawford might have the edge right now. He explained that Crawford's timing, ability to switch stances, and knockout power have been better in recent years. While Canelo is still great, he's slowed down a little, especially in his movement and pressure. Max still mentioned that Canelo's size could matter in close exchanges, but overall, he sees Crawford as the sharper and more complete fighter.
Counterpunching. But overall, I have to say Crawford. If you go down the list and ask me about tactical advantages, most of them are Crawford. What Canelo has is size, and as a result, physical strength and punching power. Canelo also has a great chin. But in terms of if you want to go skill for skill, especially the recent version of Canelo, who's had to turn into a seek and destroy guy, who had to learn as his career went on to cut off the ring and not just follow guys around. Like Lara, Trout, Floyd, he followed those guys around. He had trouble because he's really a natural counterpuncher who wants you to come to him. But in recent years at super middleweight, he's gotten really good at cutting off the ring. Again, last fight notwithstanding. So as an overall suite of skills, recent vintage, it's been Crawford.
Okay.
But Canelo also is skilled and has a larger skeleton than Crawford. No matter what they weigh, Canelo's the bigger guy.
Yeah. You briefly mentioned Canelo's power, so who? I would assume Canelo has the
You'd have to think, unless Crawford was on a knockout streak until he moved up to junior middleweight and then failed to stop Madrimov. So, and Canelo, though he has not stopped anyone in a while, we've seen he's a real puncher at 68.
As far as speed, who has a better speed?
You would imagine Crawford, given the fact that he is the naturally smaller fighter.
This fight is interesting because both fighters are in different stages. Crawford is moving up to a new weight class, which is always a challenge. But Canelo isn't the same as he used to be either. He doesn't go for knockouts as much anymore and fights more carefully. That gives Crawford a chance if Crawford uses his smart footwork, strong stamina, and high ring IQ. He could definitely win.
For Canelo, obviously at 168, he has been a bit of the smaller man at that weight class. And in the last couple of years has had trouble finishing opponents and getting guys out of there like he would have at 160 or 154. So you have a bit of a duality there. Both guys coming into this fight in the, let's say, twilight of their careers, or maybe twilight of their primes, however you want to look at it. Canelo is going to be, I think, 35. Terence is 38. So you have a similar situation, different paths, and different struggles for both fighters. But when you look at who has to do more in this fight, it's clearly Terence Crawford as far as what he's giving up and sacrificing to win this third undisputed championship and to try to beat Canelo, who has only been beat twice in his career, one of which was Floyd Mayweather being slick and tagging Canelo with counter punches when Canelo missed, being the smaller, lighter fighter and up there in age that was still able to take advantage of the youth and experience of Canelo Alvarez, but also just being a defensive maestro and able to counter off of that. Floyd is one of one. And then you have Dimitri Bivol, who was the bigger fighter, and the things that Canelo does very well didn't really hurt him too bad, right? The things that had carried Canelo up in division was his power and the ability to break an opponent down, maybe not stopping them in the early to mid part of fight.
Young boxing talent Abdullah Mason believes Crawford will not just win, he'll shock the world. He thinks people don't give enough credit to Crawford's power. While many think Canelo is the stronger man because of his size, Mason says Crawford's power comes from his timing and precision. If Crawford lands clean punches again and again, especially later in the fight, Mason believes he can pull off a big surprise.
I'll say Canelo Crawford, your prediction quickly.
Canelo Crawford. I got faith that Crawford could take it. Crawford, I feel like Crawford, he might surprise some people with his strength. So it all depends on who's the better fighter that night.
Dimitri Bivol, who already beat Canelo, had strong praise for Crawford. He said Crawford has gained size the right way and has the skills to win. Since Bivol knows what it takes to beat Canelo, his opinion matters. He said Crawford's discipline, speed, and fight IQ could be key when someone like Bivol supports Crawford. It shows this fight is a lot closer than people may think.
Him in Dubai maybe a month ago, I saw him. He's big, and he has very good skills. He's one of my favorite boxers. He able to win this fight. But there is a lot of but, and even not but, there is a lot of things, small things, which we don't know how he will deal with this. He need to get used to the power and pressure of 168, because it's big difference, to be honest. Maybe he will get used to it, and how he will be feeling himself the same day when he will fighting, how his training camp will go on, a lot of things. But he's able, he has good skills, he's awkward, he can use two boxing stance. It gives him benefits, of course.
I was at that same event in Dubai just before Christmas, and I saw him too, and I thought exactly the same thing, which is that he is quite big.
Yeah.
Size obviously is important. Jermell Charlo stepped up from super welterweight to super middleweight to box Canelo, and it didn't work at all for him. But Crawford is, I mean, he's one of the best fighters in the world, isn't he? I mean, obviously
Keith Thurman gave his own expert opinion. He said that even though casual fans might see this as an even fight, the technical details tell a different story. He pointed to how Canelo struggled in his recent fight with Jermell Charlo, especially when Charlo used smart footwork. Thurman believes Crawford, who is even more intelligent and strategic than Charlo, could give Canelo even bigger problems in the ring.
And, you know, we ain't getting punched in the face, so let's just watch the show and enjoy, people. You know what I'm saying? Let's just watch what these champions do. No matter what they do, they're both great. They're both going to continue to be great, but by the end of the day, one will be above the other.
Your eyes?
It's not like, I think a lot of people are going to lean towards Canelo. I don't want to say it's like, I feel like for the fans, it's coming off 50-50. Like it's hard for me to really commit, because this is what happened, right? When Canelo just fought the Charlo, right? When he just fought Charlo, he knocked Charlo down. But after he knocked Charlo down and Charlo was using ring movement, he never hit Charlo with another big shot, okay? This is what Keith Thurman is watching. I'm not saying like, oh, Canelo didn't do good. Like, Canelo dominated. That fight, he dominated, right? But let's just pay attention to little details, right? After he got dropped, he never got hurt again. Why, you ask? Why did Canelo not hurt him again? Oh, because he was on his bike, because he was using lateral movement, because he was watching with his eyes, and because he was being, you know, attentive with his defense, and he was able to make Canelo miss, but he was not able to make him pay.
On his podcast, Joe Rogan and comedian Mike Vecchione praised Terence Crawford. Joe called him one of the best and most dangerous fighters today and admired his focus, work ethic, and mindset. He also said this Canelo fight is a huge moment in Crawford's career, not just for money, but for his legacy. Crawford himself admitted that Canelo's size and pressure would be a challenge, but said he's fully prepared. He showed confidence and respect at the same time. This smart and humble attitude is what makes Crawford such a dangerous and well-rounded fighter.
Feeling good, you know, work has been going great, and, you know, fight time, we're going to be prepared to put on a great show for you guys.
Has this been in your mind? We've been talking about it forever. Did you feel like this was eventually going to be the case, that you and Canelo were going to eventually get in there?
Not at all. Not at all. I didn't, you know, think it was, you know, a fight that he wanted. So I didn't really know. But, you know, thanks to Turkey, Al-Sheikh, he made it possible. And, you know, we got one of the biggest fights in the last decade, you know, happening at Allegiant Stadium, September 13th.
When you get in there, what do you expect? Everyone's going to make, you know, a size difference, but what do you expect when you get in there with Canelo?
I'm expecting Canelo to be Canelo. You know, he's the bigger man. I expect him to, box a little bit, but I also expect him, to try to walk me down and be the bigger man. So, we expect everything in there.
I was looking it up, and I think the last time Bud Crawford was an underdog for a fight was the Prescott fight back in 2013. Any difference? Do you even pay attention to odds, or that doesn't matter to you when you step in there into the ring that night?
No, it definitely don't matter. The odds can't fight for him. So, it is what it is.
Look, it's just Canelo doesn't go out for the knockout anymore. Canelo's just now. We've seen in the last few fights, he just does enough to win. He did the same against Munguia. He dropped Munguia, but then they didn't want to finish him. Charlo, Berlanga. He wants to cruise through the fight. He's up there, in not in age, because he's only like 33 or 34, but he's
fighting since 15.
He was 15. A lot of training camps, a lot of sparring matches. So all that takes a lot out of your body. So he takes care of his body too. So he doesn't go all out because he doesn't want to just finish his body. He knows he still has a few more years and a few big fights where he wants to take care of himself and not punish himself too much. That's why he hasn't been able to knock those guys out. Not because he can't. I think he just does enough to win. I think Shiraz also has great power, man. I think Shiraz has the power.